Hey guys, I wanted to share some things that I've learned, not much, but that I have learned while using the Brother Scan Cut machine. One of the things that I have noticed is that if you have an image that has very thin lines, like this image here, this is a Stamping Bella. It's Lulu Loves Puppies. She's very cute, isn't she? Well, I tried cutting this with my Scan and Cut, and it was unsuccessful at picking up the actual image when you scan it. And I think it's because the lines are very narrow. It will pick up certain pieces of the actual stamp, but not everything. So I tried to go back and actually darken the lines a little bit and make them a little bit fatter, but I just was still not successful in being able to scan and cut an image like this. And you can see this is a little bit, the lines are a little bit skinnier than, say, creating a stamped image with the Prima doll. Let me just show you what I cut. I had shown this in one of my videos. I've cut 3 of the same Prima doll successfully, obviously. And it didn't have any problems, and I'll even show you where I messed up, because when I stamped the image it was a little bit, here it is. Look at her dress right here. When I stamped this image, this part of the stamp was very, very faint. So when I did the scan, and I just did a direct scan to cut, this was very faint, so it didn't pick up the rest of her dress while it did on the other one. So you can see here, if I put them on top of each other, she's missing the tip of her dress. See that? So a tip is, if you plan on getting this machine, to make sure you have a good dark image to stamp, and that the lines are dark enough and wide enough for the scanner to pick up. Okay? So that is one of the tips that I've learned. And I don't know that, I'll ever be able to get this to be picked up by the scanning. Maybe it just takes them, it takes better scanning technology. I don't know. Another question I had from somebody was, why not color your image first and then cut it out? And my opinion is, I spend so much time coloring an image that I don't want something to go wrong when it actually cuts. So I would prefer to cut the image out first, then sit there and color it. You can still mess up your coloring, that's a different thing, but I wouldn't want the cutter to, for some reason the paper could come loose and it could cut into your image that you've finished coloring. Maybe you spent a little more time on something, but that's just my opinion. There is no reason why you couldn't cut out a colored image, and I'll show you 2 that I did. These are the 2 bread tag stamps from the Stampin' Up! Chalk Talk release. Okay, I did buy the die, and I spent a lot of money on this set. I don't know exactly how much it was. It was probably somewhere around $40 or $50 for both the stamp set and the die. I don't have to buy the dies anymore, because I cut this particular stamp, which is this one right here, after I stamped those images. And here are the 2 stamped images, and you notice that they're not black. So the scanner can pick up your ink colors. This tag in the green is Memento Luxe ink, and I stamped it on Nina Solar White cardstock. So that's what ink I was using here. This ink on the right is Hero Arts Midtone Shadow ink. And I can't remember the color. It's one of the blue colors. Cornflower maybe. I don't remember. So you can see that there's no black in this image, in either of these images, yet the scanner can pick up something like this. And it's probably because there is a solid line that goes pretty much around the stamp. So it did pick them up. So no longer do I have to buy the coordinating die that goes with these stamps, because I can stamp out, let's see, I could probably stamp out 8 maybe on this one page, scan it in, and have it cut all of them out without me having to use my Big Shot. So colored images, of course you can do it. Obviously, I don't know how well it would work with yellow or something that's really, really light pink maybe. I'm not sure how it would pick that up because I haven't tried it. But you'd have to play with that if you decide to get one of the machines. So that is just a little bit of a tip that, as I said, you can stamp any, you could now stamp your sentiment stamps out that are, usually in some sort of design like this one right here, Happy Big Day, and it will cut out the shape. And so that is just another thing that I cut. Now, here's another thing that I was experimenting with, and this is not exactly the end result I was expecting. Does this look familiar to some of you? This cardstock? This is a Heidi Swapp template. And let me go get it. Okay. So, I got to thinking, well, what if I try and scan one of my templates in? This happens to be green. It doesn't show up very well here. But here's another one that I was playing around with. This is another Heidi Swapp 12x12 template. I taped it down to my cutting mat on top of a white piece of paper to help it recognize that this was a template. This one, which is the sunburst one, didn't pick up all of the lines. And you can also see that this one didn't either on the pink. So what I did was I scanned the image in, which the image is my actual template, because I wanted to see how much it would recognize. It recognized all of the inner cuts, all of these little cutouts here, but it didn't recognize the edges, which is very interesting. So I went ahead and cut it, and this is the resulting piece. Let me see if it will look better if I back it up so that you can all see the cuts that it made. So here we go. So here is the stencil when you cut it out. And now you have a die cut, really. You have a die cut 12x12 piece of paper, or you could make it even smaller. If you focus in on the cutting area so that it's just, say, this circle right here, or this area right here, it will only cut that area. Okay? So if I had scanned the pattern, the entire pattern in, and then put a circle around just this section right here, and then I went to cut, it would only cut this section. So that is another thing that you can do with your templates now. So this is not a stamp. This is a template. Instead of taking a craft knife, putting it down on a piece of paper, and tracing all of your cuts. Because if you were to try and do this with scissors, you probably couldn't, because it's an inner cut of a piece of paper. Those are very difficult to do with scissors. With a craft knife, it's a lot easier. With the scan and cut, you basically take away all of the frustrating part, which is trying to get your cuts, nicely done without wrinkling the paper or creasing it. So, notice here, I've overlaid the paper where the template fits. This heart is missing, that heart is missing, but for the most part, it's got them all. There's one at the bottom that's missing too. So, that is just another thing you can use your templates for, is to make die cut pages out of them. Isn't that cute? And I saw today, well, not today. Well, yeah, it was today. I saw, I think it was, Anyway, never mind. I will put a link to another video below if I can find it, of another idea that somebody did with the scan and cut. But anyway, those are just some ideas that I've been playing with, and there's more to come. And I hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you soon.